One of the biggest reasons is going to be bad quality material. If the material isn't of a good quality, what you're going to find is, instead of sitting nicely on your physique and giving you that baggy kind of silhouette, instead, if it's a bit more of like a thin, flimsy material, you'll see it kind of just like drapes over you. It almost gives the effect that you're drowning in the trousers and doesn't give that kind of very structured baggy look that you might be going for. Price doesn't necessarily mean quality here. However, if you spend more, the chances are they will be using higher quality material. This doesn't mean go spend a crazy amount. Definitely if you're going for a baggy look, don't err on the cheaper side, as it will look cheap. This is most noticeable in cheap denim, as a lot of compromises are made to make denim that affordable. As much as a cut might be the same as another higher quality pair of baggy jeans, you'll find that when you actually try them on, they sit really poorly on your physique. My recommendations for places to find good baggy trousers are H&M. Both their pleated dress trouser and their jeans are very good. If you want something a bit more conservative, go for Uniqlo wide trousers, as these aren't as wide, but they still give that kind of wider silhouette, which is more in at the moment. The next reason they're going to look bad is because they're not baggy enough. A lot of the time, you'll pick up a pair of trousers off the rack and you'll look at them and they look ginormous. They look like you could fit a whole family in there. But realistically, when you try them on, to achieve that baggy look, that's the kind of garment that you're going to need. So this is where I definitely recommend don't judge a book by its cover. Try these trousers on, have a look, see if they work for your physique and your proportions, as a lot of the time they will look narrower on you, as they aren't going to always be out. They will drape down and it will give them a slightly slimmer effect when you're wearing them. Another thing is, obviously, just standing around in them is going to have a very different look when you're walking around in these trousers. So to avoid trying them on and not having the desired look, walk around in them and see how they look then, as this will ensure that when you're wearing them, they are going to have that kind of baggy look that you're aiming for. The next reason is going to be that the rise isn't right. So the rise is how high up the trousers go. For instance, a low rise jean would sit closer to the waist, and a higher rise jean would sit closer to the belly button. Generally, for wider trousers, to complement this wider silhouette, you're going to want a higher rise. If you're wearing low rise baggy jeans, will kind of have the look that they kind of abruptly stop, which isn't kind of what you want. You want that kind of visual flow throughout that outfit. With higher rise trousers, you are going to want to style them appropriately. Slightly cropped stuff tends to work well with higher rise trousers if you're a guy. You can always emulate this effect by tucking under the base of your top, or by tucking it into your trouser and then pulling it out slightly and pulling it over. The next reason they're going to look bad is if you're not wearing the right shoes. Obviously, if you want a good outfit, everything needs to work together in harmony, and shoes is no exception to this. So what kind of shoes are you going to want to wear with these baggy trousers? You're going to want something that's not too chunky. I'm thinking back to those 2016 Fila Dino Stompers kind of vibe. You're not going to want to go with that. Generally, I'd recommend a much slimmer sole shoe. Typically, I see these baggy trousers very well styled with kind of like a slim loafer kind of vibe. However, the only exception I think to this is in streetwear. I think a chunky boot like a Timberland can go really well with a wide baggy trouser. The next reason they're going to look bad is because you're styling them like skinny jeans. As baggy trousers, they're going to have a different silhouette, so you're going to need to wear the top half complementary to that. You want to balance it out, as if the bottom is very loose, you're going to want a more rigid kind of structured top to help complement this piece. This is where I recommend trying on the pieces you have, seeing what works best and what doesn't. There's no one rule, can pull off both kind of less structured and more structured tops. It really depends on the top and how you style it. This is where I'd recommend using Pinterest and Instagram as tools to help you see other people's outfits and how they style these items, and hopefully you can use that as inspiration and implement that into your own outfit. Hopefully this video has helped you look better in your baggy trousers. On that note, I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed, and goodbye.